welcome to special DD presentation dedicated to the war veterans of 1971 war. I'm Sakal Bhatt. Viewers, on this day, 47 years ago, Pakistan lost half its country, its forces in the east, and had to publicly surrender to our India. It was also the largest military surrender after World War II, and the world was watching. And in this historic surrender, our Air Force warriors' contribution was noteworthy, something they say that changed the entire course of war. We at Doordarshan are extremely honored to have with us senior war veterans, living war legends of 1971 war from Indian Air Force. Very special Indian Air Force. In fact, today we're going to recall their gallantry contribution and how our Air Force warriors played a significant role. 4 of them are there in our studio in surrender of Chief of Pakistani Forces General Amir Abdullah Khan Niazi, and along with him 93,000 troops reportedly. They surrendered to the joint forces of Indian Army and Bangladesh's Mukti Bahini. Our forces brought Pakistani army virtually to its knees and gave 75 million people of Bangladesh their independence. Viewers, December the 16th is a significant day for us Indians, and we celebrate it as Vijay Divas. On the show, we have with us the living war legends, and an honor for Doordarshan to have them in our studios today. Air Chief Marshal N.C. Suri, PVSM, AVSM and VM. Thank you so much, sir. It's an honor to have you with us. We also have on the show this evening Air Marshal Bharat Kumar, PVSM and AVSM. Welcome to Doordarshan, sir. We also have on the show tonight Air Marshal Anil Chopra, PVSM, AVSM, VM and VSM as well. And extremely honored to have Air Vice Marshal B.K. Bishnoi, VRC and BAR, which means he received Veer Chakra twice during the course of his tenure as he served soldier. In fact, let me quickly start this special show dedicated to all those who laid down their lives in 1971 war and also the legends. Air Chief Marshal N.C. Suri, in fact, he's the oldest serving Air Chief we have in our country today, and we're extremely honored to have you, sir. But going back to the memories of 1971 war, the war started when Pakistani launched airstrikes on those 11 Indian Air Force bases. Was that the tipping point? Were we prepared that this is the war that we are going to win?
Thank you very much for inviting us over here. And I think I'll take this opportunity first to address the question that you have put to me, and then go on to explain a little on the air power, because this is something that our public needs to understand, its potency and its viability as of today also. A 1971 war was thrust on us by Pakistan. Like all other wars have been thrust, it was not the Indian initiative. But we have been prepared at all stages because we were aware of the fact of the threats emerging from our neighborhood. But coming on to the main issue on air power, which I wish to touch, this is the most potent weapon of war that we have. Unfortunately, I don't think in our country people have really appreciated the potency of this weapon. And it emerges that people are somewhat ignorant on the depth to which the air power can be taken, the kind of target eliminations that can be done by this, the kind of weaponry that we carry in the modern day warfare, and the highest levels of technology.
But at that point in time, we did have our Air Force prowess to do what we did then.
Well, we were flying Hunters and MiG-21s during that period, but the technology today is even much higher. So coming on to this, what we need to realize that there is no other weapon that we have in war which can create such a lethal impact on the enemy as air power. And this war from the third dimension is most significant.
Bishnoi, sir, because he was responsible for bombarding the governor's house then, which virtually led to surrender of General Niazi. Am I right?
You're right, ma'am.
Let's recall those moments.
We started the aircraft with an aim to go and attack the circuit house.
Which was the governor's house.
Hardly I had moved that I saw one officer running with a paper waving like this, and I stopped the aircraft, opened the canopy, And he told me, sir, there is a change in target. I asked him, what is that? He says, sir, this is governor's house and
Okay.
not the circuit house. Now I asked him, where is this governor's house? He shot back. He says, sir, we don't know. You look for it and find it out.
Okay.
I said, how in such a vast area of Dhaka city are you going to look for a dilapidated building which you could call governor's house now? I get a fair idea that it is somewhere south of the Tezgaon airfield in Dhaka. We attacked it. We recognized this building from some distance because it looked like a familiar set of buildings that we have in our country with the domes which British Raj left behind. So it looked like that. And I saw a lot of army vehicles standing there and some coming in with flags. So that confirmed that the place that we are going to attack is the right one. I aimed at below the dome because
Okay.
I thought the conference hall where the meeting is taking place has to be there only, and all my 32 rockets hit
Right,
dome.
the target. And then next?
And then dome. What Mr. Malik, the governor of East Pakistan, did, he ran to the nearest trench,
Okay.
jumped into it, pulled out a hanky from his pocket, put it over his head, and then bent down on his knees and said his prayers. After the prayers, he asked for paper and pencil.
Okay.
That was brought to him, and sitting in the trench itself, he wrote down his resignation as
That's historic.
and of his cabinet.
That's historic. Pakistani forces, including the governor way back then, and I think it was actually the Indian Air Forces, the way they strategized this war, which actually changed the course of 1971 war.
You know, as Air Marshal Bishnoi has just mentioned, he was the leader of the strike formation which hit the governor's house and which became the cause of the surrender. And thereafter, we all know that 2 days later, when A.K. Niazi, who by chance also happens to be the uncle of the present Prime Minister,
And he
Imran
avoids
Khan,
taking his name completely.
Yes, and he had to surrender. But I must tell you that not only was this the very historic moment which caused the surrender, another event took place on the same very day on 14th, and that is a combat that took place over Srinagar. 6 sabres had come to strike Srinagar airfield, and Flying Officer Nirmaljeet Singh Sekho, the first Paramveer Chakra of Indian Air Force, was then on ORP duty. And when the strike came, he was asked to scramble, and as he was scrambling, the physical airfield was physically under strike. He, in spite of being told that the airfield is under strike, he took off under those conditions, and his leader followed him a few seconds later. Unfortunately, for some reasons, the two lost contact with each other, and now he was left alone to fight 4 sabres. The air combat took place at very low altitude, treetop, and he shot 1 sabre, positioned himself for the second, and as he was positioning for the second, one of the other 4 aircraft was positioning himself behind him. And finally, he shot 2 sabres, and he, in the process, got shot, and unfortunately, he was too low.
We
and he could not
outclassed Pakistani troops, our Air Force warriors.
And I must tell you,
Yes.
the pilot who actually had shot him
Okay.
later on wrote, his name was Salim Beg Mirza, and he wrote that it was an outstanding combat that they had engaged. And also the famous historian Kaiser Tufail has written a book narrating this air combat that took place over Srinagar, and Indian Air Force got the first and only Paramveer Chakra.
Paramveer Chakra. Let me come to Air Marshal Bharat Kumar. You were posted in Halwara. That again comes to the western side. 13 days, the shortest possible war we have ever had. But then, if you could just describe and go back to that overwhelming sentiment, particularly in Indian Air Force, the tipping point of the war, the instructions that were coming, and yes, winning was the only option.
I'll just describe 2-3 events.
Sure.
When Pakistan launched the offensive on 3rd evening, 2 of my boys had just got airborne, and they were directed, because Pathankot was under attack, they were directed towards Pathankot. By the time they reached there, the attack was already over. Then they were asked to come to Firozpur, and other targets, but they didn't encounter anybody and they landed back. I was unwell that day, but then I decided that being the commanding officer of the detachment, I must take on the duty that night. So that night, Pakistani Canberra came, and actually there was no defense against those Canberras for us. That, and one of our, Halwara was one of the few bases which was defended by SAM-2, which is actually a missile for taking on high altitude targets.
Okay.
But it was modified, and this person made the mistake of going up a little higher, and the missile was shot. The aircraft was shot, but he lingered back. He never flew again. Next morning, naturally normal activities started. On the fourth evening, Pakistani forces crossed Fazilka and they wanted to move forward. That is the time, we are enclave on this side of the border, and we were in trouble. So almost 15 aircraft from our base was scrambled, the Sukhois, for their defense. Now one of the pairs, one person dropped out, and we were asked to go and escort them.
Escort them, okay.
So we saw the whole thing, that target being attacked. This is at dusk, there are aircraft coming there, and how good our boys were, and they ensured that Pakistani forces were not able to move forward.
Okay, okay.
The next encounter, which I could recall very correctly.
So you contained them. You contained them. You made it sure that
yeah,
they would
we
be-
contained them,
yes.
absolutely. We were asked to, our formation, our Sukhoi formation was going to attack Raivin railway station. We were asked to escort them. We flew in, and as per our briefing, as we reached the target, we pulled up a little high, and to give them absolutely take clearance. The Sukhoi bombed the railway yard, and to my surprise, I suddenly found some bogies almost at my level. The
Okay.
impact of the bombing was so great that the bogies were thrown up, and they were up 300 feet, 400 feet up in the air, and before they went.
And was it, sir, coming to Air Marshal Suri, in fact, you were the commanding officer then. This was perhaps for the first time in 1971 that you had three forces in unison fighting a war, though it was a war which lasted not more than 2 weeks. But then, will you call it a full-fledged war, or was there some sort of reluctance not to make it a full-fledged war? But at the end of the day, it was the war which we won.
Firstly, let me tell you, this was a full-fledged war,
Okay.
and it was with a great intensity. The thing is that 1971 war indicated the complete cohesion between the Army, Navy and the Air Force. This cannot be replicated, and there has been no war.
The way the whole
Yeah,
operation
all
took
of it.
off.
Yes. No matter how many people have written books and they have said that, well, they controlled the whole thing, but the Army, Navy and Air Force chiefs were with Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. And she consulted, and the kind of cooperation between the three armed forces is something that is classical. It's classical. I also wanted to mention that whilst I spoke about the eastern sector and I said the main war took place, but please remember that Pakistan was toying with the idea of grabbing as much as it could in the Western Front, and also if they were able to shift any forces at that particular time. So the theatre at no way was the war on the Western Front less intense than on the Eastern Front. This is an important aspect to note. And for instance, I know from Pathankot, Air Marshal Bharat Kumar has already told you when it was under attack. We had multiple targets, and I remember even a letter from the GOCNC 15 Corps, Sartaj, Lieutenant General Sartaj, to me personally, as to what our forces had done for them.
In fact, I think Air Marshal Anil Chopra wants to add in here. Yes.
Yeah, just
Very
to add
quickly.
on to what the Air Chief is mentioning about the tri-service cooperation that for the first time was very clearly visible in the 1971 war. You know, 4th December is celebrated as the Navy Day. While Navy was attacking Karachi harbour from the sea, Indian Air Force fighter aircraft from Jamnagar were taking off and hitting Karachi oil refinery, they hit the Badin Rera, they hit the airfields in that area simultaneously, same day, 4th November. So what happened in Karachi, a significant part was by Indian Air Force. One more thing I want to tell you about this tri-service cooperation. On 4th night, a Pakistani armor push with 45 tanks, 2,000 soldiers came on Longewala. Longewala is an outpost, which was manned by one company plus of 120 people, headed by Major Chandpuri, who got Mahavir Chakra in that war. And this post in the night just defended, and they asked for Indian Air Force. First light next morning, we had Indian Air Force Hunters and HF-24s attacking. Out of the 45 tanks, 24 tanks were taken off by aircraft, another 12 by the ground fire by the army, and remaining turned back. And by noon that day, the Longewala battle had been won.
Yes.
Close cooperation between Army and Air Force.
In fact, like I've been mentioning, we have 3 living legends of the 1971 war in our studio. In fact, Air Chief Marshal S.K. Kaul, also one of the living legends of 1971 war, has sent his message and his memories of the war. Remember, which was started by Pakistan when they launched airstrikes on 11 Indian air bases. Well, it started from that, but it ended with Niazi's surrender. And this is what Air Chief Marshal S.K. Kaul remembers all about it. A quick check.
In 71, February, March period, I got to know that I was posted to 37th Squadron as Squadron Commander. So it was a full circle for me to come back to Hunter Squadron. And I'm glad that I came back to Hunter Squadron because I had the privilege of commanding the squadron and fighting a war with it on Hunters. And coincidentally, when I was in 37th Squadron, Air Force and Eastern Air Command decided that Eastern Theatre must also have a fighter reconnaissance aircraft and a squadron at that. So they selected Hunter aircraft to be modified for carriage of 3 oblique cameras, 2 oblique and 1 nose-facing camera. Total of 3 cameras. And they chose 37th Squadron out of the 3 Hunter squadrons that Eastern Theatre had, 37, 7 in Bagdogra and 14 in Kalaikunda. The 3 squadrons deployed in Eastern Theatre. So they chose 37th Squadron. I think they chose 37 primarily because I happen to have had some background training on FR role when I was in 108 Squadron on Vampires. Because the cameras were the same, the techniques, etc. of were perhaps a little different. Speeds were higher in the Hunter naturally. Therefore, it became that much more easier for me to convert the squadron onto this new role, FR role, which I did. And since the Bangladesh war rumblings had started in March itself, April of 71, and slowly the build-up took place, etc., which gave us ample opportunity and time for me to galvanize the squadron.
All right. So, viewers, we've been talking about this was perhaps for the first time in which all 3 forces fought in unison, and as gentlemen in our studio are talking about the fact that it was so well coordinated. I'm going to come to Bishnoy ji, and also the moment when Niazi surrendered, the palpable sentiment not only in the Indian Air Force but outside the forces when it comes to Bharat then, the sentiment on ground of all Indians who were watching that.
I will answer that question with one incident. Soon after the instrument of surrender was signed and the matter was over there, one journalist asked General Niazi that only 3 days back you said that I have enough ammunition and enough Jawans and enough determination and will fight to the last bullet. For next 3 months we can sustain. but in 2 days you surrendered. What
What
happened?
was his reply?
He got up from his chair, turned round. There was an Air Force officer standing next to him somewhere around there, and he was in uniform, the Air Force officer, Indian Air Force officer. He went to him, touched the wing on his uniform, which we wear on the left side. He said, "This is what which made me surrender." Now, that kind of compliment from an enemy general who was commander surrendering
Sure.
to our Indian Air Force, I think is unparalleled.
It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal, sir.
I wanted to make just two very quick points.
Sure, sure.
First one was that in this Western theatre, as Air Marshal Bharat Kumar has clearly brought up, actually the Western theatre, as I remember the targets we had from Pasroor to Sialkot and Cham area and Wazirabad, etc., they were all burning. So the message here was that although the war was started by Pakistan, but the Indian Air Force response was so great that it showed the resilience of the pilots and the standards of training and operational training of the Indian pilots first. Second, I wanted to mention, this is in the lighter vein,
Sure.
Air Vice Marshal Bishnoi. He's quite a crazy chap when it comes to this flying. And after bombing Dhaka airfield, where he got 3 direct hits on the runway with his team.
Well, the bombing led to governor's resignation, which further led to
But more
Niazi's
significant
surrender.
is
Yeah.
that he did a loop over Dhaka airfield after attacking it.
So do you remember that? Of course, I'm sure you do.
Ma'am, it was it was something like, let's say, I as a professional will grade bombing of the runways greater effort than the governor's house. Why? Because we knocked off the Pakistani Air Force in first 36 hours, and I led
First 36 hours,
yes,
they were
That's right.
demolished.
I led that mission of attacking, and when I asked the headquarters to give me permission to carry out steep glide bombing, because we were not getting any other results in the first 2 days. Hardly any damage was done to Pakistani Air
So,
Force.
okay. So most, yeah, sure.
It took them about 12 hours to listen to me, and they said, "You know what you were asking for? You were asking for a suicide."
Okay.
It's a hierarchy that you are going to do steep glide bombing on the.
But did you do it
on the
finally?
runway? Yes, we did that. Finally, we got the okay.
And it was a heroic act.
And I led
not a
that-
suicide
I led
mission,
the
thankfully.
mission, and our all 8 bombs on the first mission itself dropped on the runway.
Well, these are stories, viewers, I'm sure you would agree, they've not been talked about much, and I think it's a matter of great honor for us, for Doordarshan
And,
family, to have these stories
and-
verbatim from you.
And let me add to that when I saw all 8 bombs having on the runway, I couldn't help but go for a victory loop over the airfield.
Great, lovely. And Air Marshal Bharat Kumar wants to
Yes.
make a point
You
here.
know-
And part of it, let me quickly add a question to all. The way, I mean, one can really make out so far that most part of this 1971 13-day war was, a major part of it was orchestrated by Indian Air Force. The operations part, yes?
Okay. And now first let's go back to third. You know, Pakistan started
Where
the
it
war.
started.
They started the war. In the first 24 hours, they just did 35 sorties. What was Indian Air Force response to that? 280 sorties were flown in the first 24 hours.
That's right.
35 and 228.
Not only that, after, you know, after the command task was over, after first 2-3 days,
So
the
they're already conceded in a way. I mean, there are 35
You
sorties
can
and
call
are
that way.
over 200 sorties.
280 sorties.
280 sorties, close to 300. So
Yes.
100
Again
times
35,
more.
again 35.
Yes.
And they had the initiative. They could have done anything. After the second day, our station commanders were in contact with the corps commanders, are saying that, listen, we have more effort. Tell us the targets. We will go there. You know, our utilization rate was just 1.1 sorties. We had planned on 3 sorties per day per aircraft. So overall, it just works to do that. For close air support, that is all. Because Army said, enough, you have done enough damage, we will give you more targets. We were all willing to go. We always felt we were underutilized.
Let me add some more statistics to what the Air Marshal has just mentioned. I must say that Indian Air Force flew more than 4,000 sorties in the western sector and 2,800 sorties in the east.
That's the point.
Vis-a-vis
In those 13 days.
in those only the 13 days, not before. And on the from the Pakistani side, there were total 1,800 sorties in the west and only 30 sorties in the east. And as Air Vice Marshal Bishnoi had just mentioned, that the Pakistani Air Force had been wrapped up, eliminated in the very first few days. A very small snippet I want to mention.
Sure.
On 22nd November, there was the famous air battle over Boira. Boira is an important salient on the road from Calcutta to Jessore. And whosoever holds that salient will ultimately be able to, go up to Jessore. So in this salient, the Indian Army was supporting the Mukti Bahani, and there was a ground war going on. And that is the time Indian Air Force was told that the sabers are coming to attack the Indian Army repeatedly. And so
Fantastic.
our formation went and intercepted, and 3 sabers were shot on 22nd November. And one of the guys, Pakistanis, who was
So
shot,
even then, Pakistan was of no match to our
And
Air Force warriors.
one of the
Yes.
pilots who landed and became a PW was Flight Lieutenant Pervez Qureshi, who later on became Air Chief in Pakistan.
Air Chief
And he was the Air Chief during the Kargil War. And when Musharraf was pushing him to join the war in Kargil, he kept insisting
No.
that no, we will not join the
Fantastic.
war because India
Fantastic.
had looked after
Yes.
him as a POW with honor and respect. And that is the greatness of Indian Armed Forces.
Very strong
And
message
the
there.
result,
Very quickly, sir. Yes.
the result of the air effort and knocking off the Pakistani Air Force in East Pakistan was that our initial aim in East Pakistan was only to capture certain amount of territory and locate their the interim government of Mujibur Rahman there, and then leave them to sort out their own affairs internally.
Yes.
But when we knocked out the Air Force, the advantage,
Pakistani Air Force,
the
yes.
Pakistani Air Force, the advantage came because there was no air cover to their troops. They were ghettoed into some fortresses which they had done there. Our troops moved in daytime.
So,
we could-
so Pakistani
we-
air warriors, if I may put it
and-
this way, were conceded defeat even, at the very outset or the onset of the war.
Not
So
only that, we
yes.
could mount the heli operations, we could mount the paradrop, which you could
There
not
was no
do in a
competition
single
coming in
fighter,
from the other
enemy
side.
fighter
There was
aircraft
no
was in
fight
the air.
coming in from the other side.
And that's how
Yes.
we reached
Yes.
Dhaka.
Something which shook Pakistan completely was on the third night. You know, the Prime Minister gave her okay at about 11 o'clock. At midnight, aircraft from Ambala, from our technical development establishment, they got airborne at night. Sukhois and MiG-21s. It's never been done before. They went O-level. We didn't have the wherewithal for night attacks, so we went over the airfield, did pinpointed attacks, and the aircraft were coming back. Now how to communicate? Because aircraft are going low level. You know, in the line of sight. So what we had, and this process carried on for a number of days, so we had an aircraft which was airborne at height,
Okay.
would transmit messages and back. What Pakistani said, listen, you have got AVAX from Russia, and they are transmitting. In actual fact, it was our innovation. It was our innovation.
It was our innovation, and on that very winning note, we need to wrap up this show, but I'm sure there are innumerable stories, many, many more stories that how our Indian Air Force warriors, the living legends, some of them are here in our Delhi studio, actually orchestrated that very, very historic win. I'll have to thank all of you. I think so you want to make a very quick
Very
point.
quick point.
Yes, yes.
I just want to underscore and highlight that no war can be fought without air power. And those who have a strong air power are the winners.
And that is India. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you very much, Air Chief Marshal N.C. Suri. Thank you very much, Air Marshal Bharat Kumar. Also thanking Air Marshal Alit Chopra and Air Vice Marshal B.K. Bishnoi for joining on this very, very special program. Thank you once again, and Jai Hind. And with that, it's time to wrap up this special presentation on Doordarshan. Stay tuned to us for more news and updates. Namaskar.